Stop for a moment. Just stop and listen. If you're under 28, there's a quiet pressure you feel every day, a pressure you rarely talk about, a sense that time is slipping through your hands. You wake up, you check your phone, and without meaning to, you compare your life to someone else's highlight reel. Someone your age is successful, someone your age is confident, someone your age seems to know exactly where they're going. And then there's you. Not broken, not lazy, just uncertain. You tell yourself you should be further by now, further in life, further in clarity, further in success. And that thought follows you everywhere. You try to fix it. You watch videos about discipline. You read about habits and routines. You save quotes that promise change. But nothing really shifts, because the problem was never motivation. The real problem is the story you were taught about time. From a young age, you were told that success belongs to the early ones, that if you don't figure life out quickly, you're already behind, that your 20s are a countdown. Before 25, you're full of potential. Before 28, you're still acceptable. After that, something feels lost. So when you don't have answers yet, you assume you failed. You look at your life and think something must be wrong with you, that you're not disciplined enough, not focused enough, not talented enough. But none of that is true. What you're experiencing is not failure, it's development. When you were younger, you made choices that felt logical, safe, reasonable. You didn't choose what pulled you forward. You chose what wouldn't disappoint anyone, what sounded mature, what looked responsible. And now, you feel disconnected from your own effort. You can push yourself, but it feels empty. You can work harder, but it doesn't feel meaningful. Because your mind knows when you're chasing a life that isn't yours. Most people under 28 aren't building success. They're building identity. They're experimenting, trying things that don't fit, copying paths that belong to someone else, learning what doesn't work. But no one tells you this part is necessary. Instead, you're taught to compare. And comparison quietly destroys your sense of progress. You don't compare your reality to someone else's reality. You compare your doubts to their edited outcomes. You don't see their fear, their confusion, their private moments of regret. Your mind fills in the gaps and whispers something dangerous, that everyone else is moving forward, and you're the only one standing still. That's when paralysis begins. You don't act, not because you don't care, but because every choice feels permanent. You're afraid to choose wrong, afraid to waste time, afraid to commit and discover you're ordinary. So your mind chooses safety. No action feels safer than the possibility of regret. And the years pass quietly. You call it laziness, but it's not. It's fear disguised as stillness. Fear of being too late. Fear of not becoming who you imagined. Fear that your best years are already gone. But here's what psychology doesn't shout on social media. Your brain is still forming your sense of self well into your late 20s. Before that, uncertainty is not a flaw. It's the design. Your mind is wired to explore, not settle. To question, not commit. To test, not finalize. Clarity doesn't arrive early. It arrives when enough confusion has passed. Many people who succeed too early pay a price you never see. They lock themselves into identities they didn't consciously choose. They carry pressure to maintain a version of themselves that no longer fits. If you haven't achieved much yet, it doesn't mean you're behind. It might mean you've been spared that trap. There comes a moment, usually later than you expect, when comparison starts to fade, when urgency quiets down, when you stop trying to impress an invisible audience. That's when something shifts. Your choices become calmer. Your focus becomes deeper. Your effort finally feels like it belongs to you. Most lives don't begin with clarity. they begin with discomfort. And most meaningful paths don't start in your early 20s. They start when you stop running from uncertainty. So if you're under 28 and feel lost, that doesn't mean your life hasn't started. It means you're in the phase where depth is being built, where your future direction is forming quietly without applause. You are not late. You are becoming. And when you finally move forward, it won't be out of panic. It will be out of understanding. Pause. Take a breath. This moment you're in right now is not the end. It's the beginning most people don't recognize until much later. And maybe right now, you're wondering what comes next. If this phase is preparation, if this confusion has meaning, then what are you supposed to do while you're inside it? The honest answer is simple, but not easy to accept. You're not meant to rush your way out. This period of your life isn't asking you to become impressive. It's asking you to become honest. Honest about what drains you. Honest about what excites you. Honest about which paths you're walking only because you're afraid to stop. Most people avoid this honesty. They fill the silence with noise. More goals, more plans, more pressure. But clarity doesn't come from noise. It comes from listening. There's a reason everything feels quiet right now. Why achievements don't satisfy you the way you expected. Why external success feels hollow when it isn't aligned. Your mind is slowly separating what you want from what you were taught to want. And that process feels uncomfortable. You might notice yourself losing interest in things you once chased. Careers that looked impressive. Lifestyles that promised happiness. Opinions that used to guide you. This isn't regression, it's shedding. And shedding feels like loss before it feels like freedom. You may also feel tired in a way that sleep doesn't fix. Not physically, mentally. Tired of pretending you're fine. Tired of explaining your choices. Tired of measuring your worth in timelines. That exhaustion is a signal. It's your mind asking for alignment, not acceleration. The mistake most people make at this stage is trying to force confidence before it exists. They imitate certainty. They borrow ambition. They commit to lives they haven't chosen consciously. And later, they pay for it. You don't need a 5-year plan right now. You don't need to figure everything out. You don't need to prove that you're doing enough. What you need is permission to be unfinished. Because unfinished doesn't mean broken. It means flexible. It means open. It means your future hasn't been locked into a shape that doesn't fit. One day, often quietly, something changes. You stop asking, "Am I behind?" and start asking, "Is this true for me?" Your decisions become slower, but more intentional. Your effort becomes focused, not scattered. You don't suddenly become fearless. You just stop letting fear decide everything. And when momentum finally comes, it doesn't feel frantic. It feels steady. That's how you'll know this phase mattered. Not because it made you successful early, but because it taught you who you are before success arrives. So if you are still here, still uncertain, still becoming, stay. This chapter isn't empty. It's quiet for a reason. And eventually, you'll look back at this period differently. Not with regret, not with shame, but with understanding. You'll realize that the confusion you hated was teaching you patience, that the stillness you feared was building resilience, that the lack of direction was quietly protecting you from choosing a life too small for you. Most people never give themselves this space. They rush to label themselves. They rush to commit. They rush to prove something to an audience that was never watching. And later, they wonder why they feel trapped inside lives that look successful but feel hollow. You won't make that mistake because you stayed long enough to listen. You allowed yourself to feel uncertain without immediately trying to escape it. And that's rare. One day, You'll notice that your inner dialogue has changed. You no longer speak to yourself with urgency. You no longer measure your worth by age or milestones. You no longer panic when things take time. You'll move with a different kind of confidence, not the loud kind, not the performative kind, the quiet kind that comes from knowing you don't need to rush to become someone. You already are. The goals that matter will start to reveal themselves slowly, not as grand visions, but as small, consistent pulls. Things you return to even when no one is watching. Things that energize you instead of draining you. Things that feel honest. And when you finally build something meaningful, it won't feel like catching up. It will feel like arriving. Arriving in a life that fits. Arriving in decisions you can stand behind. Arriving in effort that feels sustainable. By then, you won't care that it didn't happen early, because you'll understand something most people never do. Life isn't late just because it's quiet. Growth isn't delayed just because it's invisible. And success isn't real if it comes before you know who you are. So if you're listening to this and you're still under 28, still unsure, still becoming, take this as reassurance. You are not falling behind. You are gathering yourself. And that work, even though no one applauds it, even though no one posts about it, is what everything else will be built on. Stay patient. Stay honest. Stay connected to what feels real. Your time is not running out. It's aligning. And when your life finally begins to move forward, it won't feel rushed. It will feel right.